Hello, welcome to Directionless Inquiries.
I'm trying to find the nearest cash machine. I'm outside Shoreditch Church on Shoreditch High Street. Okay.
The basic idea is this, is that if you're out on the street and you've got a mobile phone, you phone this number and you're connected to somebody that happens to be able to answer a question that you need to know.
The London number is directed really at people who've registered for the system and have expressed the fact that they know something about London or about a particular part of London. So you can phone that number and you'll be connected to people with that local knowledge.
It's basically like a virtual telephone exchange.
Yeah.
Here we go. And basically I phone up a number and they'll tell me, they'll tell us anything we want to know.
I don't really mind talking to somebody in a call centre in Bangalore, but it isn't always the best place to get information about what's happening next door to you or down your street. And especially if you're stuck somewhere and you need to get to a pub that you don't know the name of, or you've lost the details of where this or that is.
It's quite nice just to be able to help someone on the way by giving them directions, for example, or by just imparting a bit of your wisdom that you've gained over the many years of being on this planet.
Yeah.
There is something in the fact that that kind of gift economy has always been there. It's just that it's remained invisible, and partly what kind of social media is beginning to do is bring that gift economy out into the open to make it more tangible.
The cost to you of sharing one piece of information is a lot less than the benefit that you get back from, you know, everybody else's information. So, you know, it's like the old adage, you got one thing to teach and you've got lots and lots of things to learn. And I think that model is present in many of these sites and these phenomena.
If a system can actually give people responsibility and actually allow them to act in a positive way, then they would do that. They would do that with gusto.
They're connecting on the basis of highly relevant similarities. It's not generic do-gooding. This is highly specific and highly individualised, and therefore far more powerful. Whether it's travelling on a budget, or whether it's being a mother, or whether it's being someone who feels they need a bit of help from a friendly stranger who's been in the same situation. Everything can be fulfilled by allowing people to help each other.
So far through Elaine, I've met quite a few people, and within just a few days, I've already hung out and, like, met tons of people in a city that seems otherwise unfriendly.
Nice. Finding manner of friendship.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. And
It's just the beginning of this fantastic phenomenon. It's really a very powerful force for good, the potential for people to connect in this way.
It's just about creating the circumstances that allows people to do that. And I think that, you know, there's so much stuff out there which kind of treats people as if they're going to mess things up, or they're incompetent. And I think that our approach to people is that generally they are competent, and that they might mess things up occasionally, but, you know, if you offer them an opportunity to help, they will gladly take it, and they will get a warm feeling, as I always get a warm feeling from doing the stuff that I do.
What's happened in the 20th century, I think, was really the anomaly. We're actually seeing a reversion to a very common and deep human pattern of doing things because we like each other, doing things because we care for each other, doing things to get recognition and to get sort of reputational capital.
There are collaborative ways of working and doing things which deliver the public service outcome far better than the old model.
People will increasingly expect to be able to make choices, to be able to express themselves, to stand up and be counted in more than just a number and a vote or a tick. So how will governments relate to people who are more empowered?
If you look at how public services work currently, it's very much they're built on a model of each of us being kind of passive consumers. So actually we're beginning to understand that public services need to start not with kind of problems and needs, but instead with people and what they can bring. And I think the reason people want to get involved is because they feel they have something to give back. And I think that's something that all public services are going to need to grapple with.
These hugely centralised approaches have got huge dangers, and I think they overlook the fact that people are naturally collaborative and cooperative, and that different versions of the same technologies are now available to everybody, so people can work together in ways that ask a deeper question about the role of government.
In the past, we've needed institutions. These days, we have mechanisms for joining together lots of individuals based on their own self-interest that are now competitive with the power of institutions.
Hierarchies are very inefficient, they're very slow-moving, they concentrate power and information at the top, and they often deny people opportunities to take initiative, to share ideas and to seek solutions themselves, and they often rob people of a sense of agency.
The big shift I think that's going on is the idea that everyone is available for group action. Doesn't mean everyone will participate in group action, it doesn't mean that all participation will be equal, but it does mean that everybody can get involved.
We all own a team called Absolute United. There's about 30,000 of us members online. We all log in online, make our team decisions, make all the vote proposals. We basically run the club now.
Well, that's gone out of play for an Ebbsfleet throw. I think every stop in play, goal kick, bit of time wasting.
Some people see this as just like a champ manager football game, but it's not, it's real life. Now, big choice. Who's going to play up front? Yeah, Big John Kindy.
John Kindy tries to challenge. Michael Bostwick puts it out of play.
You can turn institutions upside down using the net. You can design systems or institutions from the bottom up and let them self-organise.
I always go with Lance Cronin because he represents England at semi-professional level.
How do you see this half going, Tim?
I want Ebbsfleet to tuck the ball up their jumper and sit down and not let Aldershot get a hold of it. The rain's starting to come down a bit harder now.
We've lived here all our lives. I started going when I was about 8 or 9 with my grandfather, you know, long term.
As soon as you went for it.
I think the way the voting will go, it will select the best available team.
Now, I've got to have Stacey Long on the wing.
Right back, I really usually like to pick Mark Ricketts. He's only just come back from injury.
You know what, he did well last game. I think I might try him there. Let's put Sasha at left back.
In a way, it is less personal, right, to take advice from 30,000 people than from one arrogant person. And if you get it right, taking your cue from 30,000 people actually creates a much better chance that one person isn't going to be making a kind of catastrophic mistake. I'm sure it feels very different in the management suite.
And then we've got at left back Sasha Opinel. He's been brilliant all season.
If you just open yourselves up,
strikers,
you find that there's all these kind of resources out there.
Kindy, Michael Bostwick.
He's good with crosses.
And all this kind of expertise out there that could be incredibly valuable to you.
But then he's only 18, along with 1 or 2 others.
Okay. And that is my team. Save. Absolute United, they're playing in the semi-final today of the FA Trophy against Aldershot, and we're 3-1 up from the first.
Joe, see you later then. Ta-da. Bye. Should be a good game today, actually, Rick.
Absolutely. Biggest game for years and years for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've never been to Wembley before.
In this self-organising model, it can be very low cost and very efficient compared with top-down bureaucratic hierarchy. Just compare open source software in Microsoft. Microsoft spends billions to develop products which are less sophisticated than Linux. Linux is this large open source software writing community. Linux doesn't have a head office. It doesn't have any corporate jets. It doesn't have any away days. It doesn't have any human resources department. It has none of the stuff that large organisations have, and yet it manages to produce something which is reliable and is used by governments all over the world.
The code is out there. I mean, just use it. I mean, it's free. You can submit your own patches if you're a programmer. Maybe you're not a programmer. Maybe you just give feedback to developers. Go on forums, you know, say, oh, this software's very good, but maybe, you know, I'm not a programmer, but I'd really like to see this feature. You know, a lot of developers are very open to ideas.
So it's something getting into all sorts of systems people take for granted, as well as just the desktop PC. Banks are all heavy users of Linux. A lot of it on services used across the internet, people like Google, Amazon, at home in things like televisions these days, mobile phones. We've had people do things like wire the speedometer data into their music system. So as they pass a certain speed, it starts playing Ride of the Valkyries to remind them to slow down.